Hey, this is Bob with Happy Acres Homestead. Today we're going to talk about painting vinyl siding, or better yet, why you shouldn't paint it. You see this siding, how it looks like it was in a fire, especially underneath that window, and we'll talk about that spot later. The siding that you're looking at here is about 30 years old. It used to be light blue, as you could see there, and I had painted this with a brush and roller about 10 years ago when the siding was 20 years old. And 10 years worth of abuse in the sun has done this to the siding. Now, at the time I painted the siding, I had read online that if you paint a lighter color than what the siding is, that you'd be okay and wouldn't have any issues. I read that in a couple different forums. You can see where the sun just disintegrated this breaker box. I was in the process of adding on a 4-car garage, and there was a neighbor that was also adding on, and they were residing their whole house. Their house was a light gray, so I took their used siding, put it onto my addition, which now I wish I hadn't. It was being cheap, but the siding was in decent shape. But at any rate, I put that siding on my addition, and then I proceeded to paint the whole house a light gray. So I'm painting light gray over that used light gray siding. That's the same age as my siding. And then I painted that light gray over my light blue siding. And the end of the house we're looking at here was that light blue. And once again, this is what 10 years in the sun has done to it after having that paint, after having painted it. It's just rippled and looks burnt. And I noticed about a year and a half after my siding started rippling bad that there was a crew going through this neighborhood and painting houses. They'd tape off the windows and they would spray these houses, and probably doing it like at a couple thousand, maybe $2,500 a shot. And I tell you, after about 6 months, I mean, because they're spraying it on heavy. After about 6 months, there's 3 houses on my road, which is the main road in the subdivision. There's 3 houses alone on this road that are rippling something terrible and look just as bad as the end of my house here. I know siding is 4 times the cost, but you're better off to do it because you're going to wind up siding it anyways. I know in cool climate that this warping and popping apart may not happen as fast. Here in a warm climate in Florida, this end of the house here sees 105 to 110 degree temps all summer. Now this siding, it lasted about 5 or 6 years before it started warping. I don't know if it's because I painted it lighter by brushing it and rolling it, but as I mentioned, the neighbors' houses, they lasted about 6 months after spraying them heavy and they started warping and buckling something terrible. There was one that was a light yellow color and the couple had it sprayed kind of a medium green, and it buckled. I mean, it looked 3 times worse than this house. They put out all that money and then had to turn around and side it anyways. And it's just terrible. But I just cannot advise against painting enough. I did it because I was able to get the free siding to put on my addition. I like the idea of a gray house versus a blue house. Wasn't real sure if this warping would happen, but like I said, after about 5 or 6 years, it started happening. Good thing that I didn't spray down heavier. It would have happened much, much sooner. Alright, so about that really bad spot underneath that small bathroom window, you can see there's longer shutters on there. I had a piece of Lexan below that window, trying to make it look like 2 panes, trying to make it look like a larger window rather than the small bath window. And you can see what that Lexan did to that siding. I kind of had an idea that it might warm up a little, but I had no idea that it would heat up and warp that siding like that. As you can see here, the new siding looks far better. Got about half of it done here. I'll get the rest finished up tomorrow. I did put house wrap on it. There was not house wrap put on it back in '91, but I did add a couple pieces of siding over the top of the house wrap there, where you can see I sided it halfway up because we've got rain coming and I wanted to protect it a little bit more. I'll just pull those 2 pieces back off and then continue house wrapping and siding up to that peak. I really appreciate you guys watching. Just trying to save you some money, save you a big headache. If you like this content, please give it a thumbs up and share this video with others that are thinking about siding, or I'm sorry, thinking about painting their siding. And we'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.